What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Football Chatbox. My name is Ryan, and welcome to a Game Week 5 wildcard and free hit video. Now, this has been a requested video, so I'm going to talk to you about two wildcard drafts. One, what I've made, and one which is Karan, who is part of the panel, Football Chatbox panel. His current wildcard draft. I think there will be changes to both, and I'll let you know like how what different players that you can get that are not shown here as well. And then we'll talk about a free hit draft as well. And that free hit draft is mainly for those of you who maybe already have City and Arsenal players and you don't want to get rid of them for this week. And you don't have maybe a Salah or a Watkins who are captaincy options this week. So you're like, okay, I really don't want to get rid of the City and Arsenal players because I'm going to need them next week. And I don't have enough Liverpool or even a Aston Villa, and you want to target those fixtures, I'll show you a free hit draft as well. Having said all of that, let's get straight into the video. All right, let's talk about the wildcard draft. Now, if you up to this point, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well if you are new, and let's talk wildcard. So I've made a rough wildcard draft with 0.2 in the bank for me. You might have more. You might potentially have less as well. Then you might have to make a few adjustments. I'll talk through my decision makings. And before I mention the players that you can see on screen, my only problem with a Game Week 5 wildcard is you're in a very tough spot because you want to target immediate gains from the likes of Liverpool, from Salah. You want to target immediate gains from Aston Villa. So you kind of want to have them on your wildcard. But when you go to Game Week 6, you want to get in those Arsenal assets. You want to get in like Haaland back and all of that. So there are a few things that you can do, few sacrifices that you can make on a Game Week 5, which you might have to remediate in Game Week 6 as well. So it's up to you in terms of that. And based on the number of free transfers you already have that you carry over into Game Week 6, things could change as well. So let's start in goal. I've got Flecken and Fabianski as goalkeepers. Now you could potentially go slightly different. You could also go for David Raya and Flecken. I've seen that. I've seen people go, no, sorry, not David Raya and Flecken. I've seen people go for David Raya and maybe a Sanchez for this week. Purely Sanchez just for this week, and then David Raya for some of the other fixtures. It's to find a team that really coordinates well with Arsenal is not as easy. Chelsea and Arsenal, they don't necessarily go hand in hand in terms of rotation, goalkeeper rotation. If you're even trying to do that, I would just, if you had David Raya, I would just play David Raya for every single game. If you really want to go Raya, I might even go Raya and a 5 million, a 4 million goalkeeper, to be honest. But it's up to you. I've gone Flecken and Fabianski in this one because I'm just going to continue to go with Flecken throughout the rest of the season is the plan. You could upgrade that, like I said, based on your bank balance in terms of how much money in the bank and all of that and what players are getting. Now, in the back line, I've gone for Robertson, Pedro Porro, and Gabriel as the premium defenders. We're benching Gabriel against City. You could actually start him as well, and I don't mind it at all because we saw against Spurs, Arsenal, one of their main sources of goals, especially when they're playing pragmatic football and trying to defend and keep that clean sheet, main sources of goals comes through set pieces. You could probably start Gabriel as well, but in this case, we're benching him. And my other two defenders are Leif Davis from Ipswich, who's playing Southampton. Ipswich have a really good run of fixtures. And I've gone for Ole Aina, who is from Nottingham Forest, and he's 4.4 million as well. The one, I guess, problem with this draft is usual drafts, you would see at least one 4.0 defender. You can go and get 1.1 4.0. Like you could maybe remove Oleana and go and get, for example, a Van der Berg from Brentford. He might not necessarily, he might be someone who will play most of the games, but I won't be surprised if he does end up losing his spot as well. Your other option for a 4.0, you could go for Mosquera from Wolves. His fixtures get better from, let's say, game week 9 onwards, actually, to be honest. So he could be another one that you could just keep on the bench for now, and then come game week 9, he'll be a really good option. Wout Face at 4.1 is not too bad as well, but if you want to save that 0.1, you can go to the 4 million defenders I mentioned. And then from Ipswich, if you didn't go Leif Davis, you could go for Greaves as well, who is a centre back. if you wanted a Ipswich defender, that's another option as well. So that's my defensive options. I've gone for Robertson for the immediate gain against, for example, the catching on to those Liverpool fixtures and getting like an attacking option there. Now, you could do another situation where maybe you could upgrade Robertson to a Trent Alexander-Arnold, and then you could downgrade Gabriel to a 4.0 defender, for example. But you're going to want Gabriel again in game week 6. So I was like, okay, there's no point in booking in transfers for this specific move. Let's just get Gabriel into the team now itself. And then you can just bring him on in game week 6. Or you can even start him against City if you want to. That's up to you. In midfield, we've got for Salah, Luis Diaz, Rogers, McNeil, and Diblin. Tyler Diblin from Southampton, 4.5 million midfielder who just started against United. Looked pretty fast, pretty good. But it is Southampton. End of the day, they don't score enough goals, and that's going to be a problem. So don't expect much from him. If you had more money and you could upgrade that spot, actually, I don't mind upgrading that spot. It all depends on what you're going to do with some of the other players I'm going to mention. But for now, I've gone for Tyler Diblin, and this could upgrade after, for example, as you can see, there's no Arsenal attack here. If you were looking to get maybe Salah to Saka in game week 6, for example, you could then use that money. You'll have about 2.5 million, maybe 2.6, 2.7 million, depending on your bank budget. You could use that to upgrade Diblin to maybe an Embuemo, for example. That's one possible move. Or even someone else, maybe someone else that you think appears as an option. Rogers, just because Aston Villa's couple of fixtures, he should do well. End of the day, he is a 5.0, so there's only so much you can expect from a 5.0, but he's a 5.0 that's playing at the moment, so I'm happy to keep him. Luis Diaz, again, to target those Liverpool fixtures. Now, Luis Diaz and Salah both could leave your team if you wanted to. You could also, the reason I've got Luis Diaz here is I still think Liverpool's fixtures from an attacking point of view, except for Arsenal in game week 9 and maybe City in game week 13, everything else actually is pretty good from an attacking point of view. So even if you were to sell Salah and you still wanted Liverpool attack, is in terms of Liverpool cover, you could still keep Luis Diaz. That's one of the reasons why I've gone for the double Liverpool attack. You could also go for double Liverpool defense with Trent and Robertson, and maybe get like an Eze, an Embuemo, someone like that in here. You could even get a Heung-min Son, but no, that would require a bit of sacrifice elsewhere, and I'll explain how you could do something like that as well. So these are a few options, and then I've gone for McNeil for Everton. Everton clean sheets, it's not coming yet. I think Branthwaite has to get into the team before Everton look a bit more defensively solid, but at the moment they're attacking, and McNeil is playing as the number 10, taking set pieces. He could be a really good option with Everton's fixtures looking pretty good until game week 14. So I've gone for McNeil. No Calvert-Lewin because of the whole illness and all of that. So having said that, let's go to the forwards. I've gone for Jamie Vardy, Watkins, and Haaland. Now, Haaland here is there depending on how much risk appetite you have. If you are willing to go without Haaland for maybe 2 weeks, game week 5 and game week 6, right? You could go, let's say, for example, you could have Watkins, Vardy. You could probably have even Havertz here, maybe. Like you could have Kai Havertz. And then you could use that money that you had from selling, like not having Haaland, to maybe upgrade Diblin to another better midfielder, like a Heung-min Son, for example. That is a possibility. And you might have to work this out and see how it goes. But come like after, so you have Watkins for 5 and 6, no Haaland for 5 and 6. And then come game week 7, you sell Watkins to Haaland. In game week 6, you've already sold Salah to Saka, and you need to calculate and see this, because if you should make sure that you have save enough funds to be able to do like a Watkins to a Haaland. And if that is just going to be too risky and you don't want to do it, because I still think Haaland is capable of scoring against even Arsenal or Newcastle based on his Premier League form, then just keep Haaland. Up to you in terms of how you actually want to navigate it. But that is one option. Like you can get Havertz in. Havertz will be good for 6, 7, 8. Watkins you can sell from game week 7 onwards to Haaland. Salah can downgrade to Saka next week if you wanted to, while you still have Luis Diaz as Liverpool attacking coverage. there are a few things you could do with this draft and a few options that I've mentioned. And then obviously, if you were to get rid of Haaland, like a Diblin could potentially go to a Huming Sun, for example. Or even if you wanted, you could maybe upgrade McNeil or Rogers or even Luis Diaz to a Huming Sun. If you wanted, depending on your budget, you could also go and get a Palmer in. But the only thing is, Palmer would be a very, very short-term move, which you probably might want to get rid of after as well. So the one thing I will say is don't book in too many transfers. That's basically all I would say. Don't book in too many transfers. But these are a few players that you could have a look at. Now, having said that, I will show you Karan's current wildcard draft that he sent to me, and this one is without Haaland. He's gone for Ray and Fabianski, something similar to, like I said, if you go in for Rea, you might as well just go for 4.0. He's gone Trent, Gabriel, Pedro Porro, Konsa, and Mascara. So Mascara is that 4.0. Konsa, Aston Villa, still pretty decent fixtures, but clean sheets, I don't know how much they're going to keep. Maybe against Wolves is not a bad fixture, to be honest. He's gone for Salah, Palmer, Semenyo, Saka, and Mbeumo. Now, he's gone for Saka straight away. And Mbeumo and Semenyo, Palmer, and Salah for the fixtures as well. Semenyo is probably his cheapest midfielder, not playing this week, but maybe going forward. He's gone Jamie Vardy, Joe Pedro, and Calvert-Lewin. Now, I've asked him about Watkins, so he's something he's kind of going to wait and see on press conference news. Calvert-Lewin and Joe Pedro being yellow flagged is not great, so things will change. Things will change from this team. He has to kind of look at it as well. But yeah, this is one other alternative draft. The front line will more likely change, which means sacrifices will have to be made from midfield. So I'm not sure what exactly he's going to try and do, but we'll see. And that's the two wildcard drafts. Onto the free hit draft. Now, this is a game week 5 free hit draft. Now, for those, like I said before, you have a lot of Arsenal and City already in your team. You don't have Salah, you don't have Watkins, and you kind of want to take advantage of that without having to sell your City and Arsenal assets. This is one draft that I've gone with. I've gone for bench. Forget about the bench. Just want to focus on the 11 players that you have. I've gone for Martinez in goal. Out of all the teams in terms of goalkeepers and like teams that like, I would like to get a Liverpool goalkeeper, but not possible because I've gone for 3 other Liverpool players. I would like to go and get maybe, I don't know who else. Like, can I trust? I don't really trust some of the other teams. Like Arsenal is playing City. You could get Rare, but not on a free hit. You're never going to do that. You could look at a Brighton Forest, but it's hard to predict who's going to like score in that game. So I just thought Martinez just was kind of the safe one out of the bunch. So I've gone for Martinez in goal. Porro, Trent, and I've gone Leif Davis. Like I said earlier, for the wildcard one against Southampton. So that's my back line. In midfield, I've stacked it. I've gone Salah, Luis Diaz, Palmer, Son, and I've gone McNeil because I kind of needed to put in like a cheap midfielder there. So I've gone for McNeil against Leicester. And up front, I've gone Watkins and I've gone Jamie Vardy. We're hoping that Leicester and Everton have goals between the two of them. So that's why I've gone for that combination. You might actually have more budget than what I do, and you might be able to actually afford a few more other options. I've gone Wout Face in defense just in case I needed someone to come off the bench. I have Danny Ings here as a 5.0. You could actually move this to a 4.5 forward, and depending on your budget, you could probably upgrade Jamie Vardy to someone else if you wanted to, or even upgrade McNeil to someone else. It's just that I couldn't really think of who I would want that had a really good fixture in those spots. And I thought these two, like, basically below table teams facing each other could lead to some goals. So that's kind of my thinking behind that. But yeah, that's the free hit draft that I've gone with. Let me know if I'm missing any players. The one thing with this free hit draft is obviously you're not going to have any City or Arsenal. Anything can happen in that game. Although we're all expecting it to be like a 0-0, 1-0 to either side, or 1-1 at best, right? So that's one of the things that you have to back against and you have to go on a free hit draft. But yeah, let me know what you think. And if you reached up to this point, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well. And I'll be live tomorrow for the deadline stream 2 hours before the FPL deadline. So make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow.